All right, I'm just checking in with everybody. How's everybody doing? I am doing extraordinarily well. I'm gonna have to tell y'all, for those of you that have been with me for many years and who have seen me go through all of the things, I'm super end of days. And, I'm super end of days. And for a really long time, I had very little faith in, like, the collective humanity as a whole. And pretty much was confident that in my lifetime or in my kids' lifetime, our society was going to run itself into oblivion. And while I think that we are on a fast road to a complete breakdown in a lot of really shitty things that are pervasive and status quo in our society, I think that there is this shift that has happened in 2020 that for so many people has been really hard, and for some people has been like very deeply enlightening, and for many they have reassessed their alignment with what values are important to them and like how they want to live their lives. And then there's an entire swath of y'all that just want to get back to the way it was. But I think more and more people are really coming to a deeper understanding, like not up here, but like deep inside of them, that the way things were was not sustainable. And they're looking to figure out other ways. And what that has done in this year, in this 2020, it has taken, I can feel it. I can feel the transition, like in the collective, because it has taken collectively a massive amount of people that were just going through the motions and living in a dream world that was not okay, like a nightmare world. And I'm honestly thankful to pandemic for it. I know that a lot of people have died because of the historical willful ignorance of our society to allow status quo to be what it was. And I think that so many people dying and people in like seeing it, I can't do anything about the people that don't believe it. Like I'm not talking to them. I don't care about them. But systemically, so many people do see that we are not able to sustain the way we are, and that change has to be like obliterating the old paradigms and rebuilding the new. And that's going to take generations, because it took generations for us to get here. But there is a shift in that. And what's going to come from it is going to be a world, a society, when my children grow up and when they have children, that are not going to tolerate and allow for what's happening on such massive scales to sustain. And I can feel it. Like I can feel it deep. Like I know this to be true in the way that I knew that we were on the path to something real bad. And I'm not saying that things are not going to get Mad Max Thunderdome. I'm not saying that. They actually very well could. But I believe that over the course of the next 7 generations, that change is going to come, that is going to care for all in the way that humanity should have been, the way that we evolved to honor that care of all. Like, we know it. We know what is needed, right? And we haven't been living by that, right? We've been living in survival. And I see that this shift is going to shift deep inside of us. And we're going to begin to make these paradigm shifting changes systemically. And we're going to be more mindful. And I know that I'm so rarely hopeful. So take this in these weeks that, you know, we've come off of last week, which was just like heartbreak upon heartbreak. And then we're stepping into, you know, more devastation, more things being uprooted and overturned, and it's gross, and it I know is making so many people violently rageful, righteously so, and that can fuel the massive change that must happen. Put your rage and anger to use. Vote, do the vote. Absolutely. I mean, that's like one of the like easiest given things, but that is the easiest thing that you can do. Like that's like a joke. Like that's static. Like that is your status quo thing to do, is to go and vote a dictator out of office, right? Regardless of how you feel about the other guy. Just vote the dictator out of office and then continue to use the rage that you are feeling from watching so much transition and uproot, not transition, the transition is good, the uprooting, the visual uprooting of all that is rotten to the core that we have watched and that we have been party to and experienced and seen. Many people knew it way before this March, this past 6 months, but we're seeing it where nobody can turn away from it. No one can continue on saying that anything is good about what the world that we're living in right now, right? And anybody who is trying to say they want to go back or that they think things are fine the way they are or should change for the past are willfully ignorant and like are not like their time is coming to an end. I mean, it's just true. And that's why they're scratching. It's like a person that's been buried alive. They know that their way of life is not going to sustain, and their way of life has been propping them up and has been fucking other people. And they see that and they know it, and the coffin has been like shut and nailed, and they're scratching. They're scratching. That's what. So of course they are. Bless them. You know what? Bless them. What a hard, difficult, miserable life they must have to be so narrow-minded in their systems of belief and their judgments, and the expectations that they have for their systems to only care for them. And that is fear that has turned to hatred, and fear that has turned to hatred is different than righteous rage. Foreseeing what fear turned to hatred has caused our society to become. So we can hold righteous rage and use it to move us forward. And the fact that they are taking like this sacred source or God or whatever you choose, life, life sustaining energy, whatever you want to call it, that they have taken it and twisted it. And that's what our civilizations are built on. But we are moving into a new paradigm. And those of us that hold the righteous rage, and we can see the fear, which has turned into hatred, as we move forward, there's going to be lots of scary things that are going to make you want to be afraid. But if you hold the righteous rage and you listen deeply, you will know the difference between what you have to do and walk through that fear and what fear turns to hate. And that simple practice that I think more and more people are tapping into their deeper knowing and their need to shift these paradigms because they can't sustain them anymore, and they can see that our infrastructure can't sustain that anymore. More and more people stepping into that and then listening to their deep knowing about what needs to happen, and then following that righteous rage to enact the change for equity for all, to make everything equitable, and to figure out how to create new systems that are like nothing we've ever experienced in our lifetimes. Retapping into ancient models that we can bring back around with our equity at the baseline. Equity at the baseline, and then from there you move up. And people can do, but like there are some things that our society must level. They must level. And we're seeing it. And I think that it's coming. And I am not a hopeful person, like I said. And I do not know if it's going to be in our lifetime, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that my own children, as they grow and take more, as they connect more into their communities, like on a larger scale, they will not tolerate this. And I know many of your children won't either. They will not tolerate what we are living in right now. They won't. So I'm going to end with this. So there's this idea that what happens on the macro level is happening on the micro level. And so if we look at the way that systems are breaking down, but we also look at how all of the rotten is getting overturned on a macro level, you may find that when you look at your life right now, or the things that are happening in your life, they are not working. Systems that you had in place, things, status quo that you were doing on a day-to-day level, just as you with your family, with your work, it's no longer serving you. It's no longer supporting you. And the rotten's getting overturned. So that is because it's happening on a macro level, and then here we are on a micro level. But on the other flip of that coin, if you are aligning yourself and like becoming deeply aware of your own deep knowing and listening to yourself and practicing that mindful connection to yourself and putting yourself first, and like giving you your own air, like in the airplane, like your own, breathe first, and then, and the more of us that are doing that, right? That is the micro, as is the macro. And we are going to see that there is this peace and this like satisfaction and success and like surprise that's going to come as we align ourselves with our own deep knowing and follow those paths. It's going to bloom out the way that the macro is coming in. That is the key. That is the key. And more people that are doing that, it's going to change the frequency of the earth, which in turn is going to change the entire way that the human race operates and functions and connects with the earth and all the energy on the earth. So, okay. It's totally fine if you're like, Sonia has fallen off the deep end. She's officially a nut job. It's totally fine. You can completely think that. But remember all the times I'm always right. Are those my geese? Remember all the times that I'm right. Those are my geese. Oh, hey, geese. Oh my God, they just flew right over. See, that's a sign too. So that's a sign that y'all can listen to me and don't be afraid that I've gone crazy, because I went crazy a long time ago. This is just my truth and my knowing and the peace that I have this morning in a crazy time. But one thing I've learned from owning my own feelings and belief systems and my knowing and like speaking it out there is that it resonates with a lot of people. And so if this resonates with you, then cheers to some like peace in the coming weeks that are going to look really, really scary. And for those who don't resonate with it, that's totally fine. I'm not for you. My voice is not for you. And that's okay. You will find other voices that are for you. But I live on this earth because my voice is above all else for me. So go find you a voice that is for you and practice your own voice and see if that's the one that's for you. You may be surprised. Okay, cheers, y'all. Y'all have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. It's a full moon. It's a full micro moon on Thursday night. So the moon will be the farthest away from Earth that it has been all year. So, and then I think it comes back around in 2 weeks. And I think maybe the new moon, even though we don't see it, but it's closer to us than ever. And then we bookend October. We have a full moon October 1, and then we have a full moon October 31st, which is going to be a blue moon because 2 moons in 1 month. That second moon is called a blue moon. And it's on Halloween, a full Halloween moon, which hasn't happened in like a long time, like 17 years, I think. I don't know. I don't know the details about that. All right, y'all. Have a great week. Cheers.